work with ADHD because I have execution. Yep.
Even if it's messy, like us.
All of a sudden, you just get to sit down and enjoy cake. Like, that was huge. We get it. That cake was so good, by the way.
This is episode 2 of Cultivated Conversations with Jensen and Nazel. And today we have a very special guest. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Rachel.
Rachel, our dearest friend. Thank you so much for being on our second episode. This is really not a really structured interview. This is literally just a conversation that we're having because we rarely get to see each other and we just have our own coffee. I have iced vanilla latte.
This is iced Americano.
And a cortado. We are here in Berkeley, California. This is sort of like the middle point between all of us. We're all from the Bay. We are on 4th Street in Berkeley, which is a cute little town. We'll vlog later. A lot of cute shops, restaurants, and like cafes where we're in right now. So, Rachel, you're a guest here. The main reason why we asked you is because
We love you.
yeah, exactly why. We're big fans. We're huge fans. I'm a very light. She also creates a lot of content, and we'll have all of her links down below.
Hold on, I do like content.
What was that when we were like, content?
Oh my gosh, where were we? No, I love content.
That was like our code word for like, we gotta get a shot of this. We gotta get a shot of it.
I'm a sucker for content for sure. I don't know what it is about it. I just love recording myself.
Do you have a favorite place where you like to go?
This is perfect. Cafes, good lighting. If I have coffee, like I'm all of a sudden so confident.
And food.
Oh, I'm such a foodie.
Eating out was your favorite thing.
I love cooking too.
So it's favorite. It's like a foodie. We're calling this, is this a series? It's a series. It's a main series for YouTube. So we're calling it Cultivated Conversations. And the whole idea is that we want to be able to kind of show off the women we admire in our own lives. Like people we actually know. Like not really famous. Yeah. Although I know one day maybe you'll be famous. And so I thought it was really cool if we could talk a little bit today. You're very multi-passionate. Just kind of shine a light on the things that you do. But the thing that we were really curious about is you're coming up on your second book. You had your first book that you released a couple years ago. Maybe you can give us a little bit of background because you're not a writer by trade.
Not at all.
Tell us how the first one started. Like, how did you get the idea?
Well, I think it's first being an only child. I feel like I have like a super imaginative mind. My children's books are a little bit different because they are children's books, but you look into them. Like if you're like a 4-year-old, you're gonna be like, oh my goodness, this is a lot of words. I feel like it tries to actually speak to like the inner child. A lot of the themes are like me talking to myself, or what I would tell myself now that I've experienced, whether it was like being proud of who you are, like not being too tied down to like our job titles, but more on our attributes and characteristics of ourselves. And that was the first one. So I feel like I had that story and I really wanted to, kind of like talk about it. Yeah. So like, what's the best way but to put it into a children's book?
I love that. What was the title of your first? And then give us a breakdown because I love the story of because I really saw myself in like
Mr. Awesome Great Day. Yeah.
Like a little summary.
So it's about Arthur, who is a kid and he's in school and teacher's like, what do you want to be when you grow up? He goes home and he's excited to tell his parents, I want to be like captain of happy people. I want to have someone that gives awesome days. And then the parents are like, wait, don't you want to be like a doctor? Like, don't you want to be an engineer? Won't spoil too much, but it talks about a little bit more than just job title.
And I feel like that's like the ultimate question you're asked as a kid. What do you want to be when you grow up? Like, it's like such a big
exactly.
It's gonna set up your life. Like,
That's a question that I feel like I always struggled with. People would always ask that, and I was like,
you can go the route of like a career, but like making people happy, like that's such a more positive accomplishment. Yeah. And I remember like realizing, like kids are actually so wise, and then it's all of us that are like adding like these societal pressures that takes that away. When I asked Caden before we read the book to him, because we were on the first page, I think, and I was like explaining what a school project was and explaining what growing up meant. And then I was like, well, what does Caden want to be when he grows up? Before we even read the book, because I didn't even read it through to him. And he was like, I want to be a silly guy. See? I want to be the funny guy. And then as we were reading it, I was like, oh my god,
perfection.
I'm never going to say all of this to you.
That's so perfect.
Yeah.
We're gonna change like the way we ask our kids. Yeah, that's exactly it. That's exactly it.
Yeah, I thought that was like beautiful. And then now you have your second book.
Yes.
And can you give us a little idea of what the
Yeah. So the second book is called Miss Mighty Mountain, and a lot of people, it's so funny. It's doing exactly what I would hope. Everyone's just doing like, oh, it's about being mighty, and, being as tall as a mountain. But it's not. So I won't give too much away. But it's again another inner child theme. I think what I can say is I think we always talk about trying to do so much and making that everything. Yeah, is that what we want? Is that so? That's what the second book is about. Sophia actually did a lot of my illustrations. She did the first one and this one too. So it's very children's book friendly.
Sophia's doing it. She's our friend here.
She is the best.
She works in education for kids, but then she also does like illustration. She does a lot of other stuff on the side. Are these rats?
Yeah, these are for you guys. I brought for you guys. Yeah.
Got free ones. Your first one I bought on Amazon so you could get the
Yes, yeah, Amazon, available on Amazon and Barnes and Noble for this one. Yeah. Gosh, guys, have some.
And you got the avocado toast sandwich.
But I'm actually really curious because, like I said in the beginning, you don't actually write children's books or anything, right? Like, so tell us a little bit about like your background, current work.
Yeah.
Like, who is Rachel in professional work?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's so funny. Everyone, even my family, they're like, "What do you do for a living? What do you do? What are you up to over there in California?" So I actually work in programs and product for a neurotech company. But honestly, I just help people and I help people's brains. I work with doctors. Yeah, I work with doctors, but I work with a lot of clients and different patients that are just honestly trying to improve their brain health.
It is like clinical, like all of it is like
yes, it's a good way to put it. So it's clinical, and even though it is technology, even though there's sometimes fun technology. There's there's QEEG brain maps. There's neuropsychologists that are reviewing the brain maps, whether they're diagnosed as ADHD, brain injury, or optimizing your brain for attention focus. There's so many different ways to do that.
so many different areas.
Yeah.
Right? And so we were talking about like so there's a lot of options that are like treatment based, and then there's also like people who just want to optimize stuff. I think I've seen you work with athletes. I'm not gonna like give away everything because I don't know like what's it called privacy clauses are, but you should look her up on LinkedIn.
It's probably not as private. You can look it up.
But you are telling me a little bit about your LinkedIn stuff too, because I think a couple months ago you were telling me about how you were trying to write a bunch of stuff for LinkedIn to become like a kind of like an expert voice in like the space.
Yeah, you're right. I do a lot of things.
Yeah, which is why we have
ADHD. That's why I work with ADHD because I have it. So LinkedIn is where I showcase my work, right? So what I do for a living and then what I do on the side. But I actually just also like to advocate for brain health, kind of show that there's different avenues. Like everyone goes to like the dentist for their teeth, the eye, optometrist, your ears, but not a lot of people check the health of your brain. So brain mapping, EEGs.
Are those like assessments and tests?
Yeah, so that's exactly it. You can do a neuropsych eval.
I never really understood what that meant, but it's like so that sharp. Like that's what my dad reads and does.
And that's so good.
He's like almost 70 and he's constantly reading books and doing that. My dad should do that.
That's exactly what I'm trying to like promote, right? The people should be working out their brains. Like I love that your dad does that. Absolutely. Or even young kids, right? Working out the brain, talking about the brain, understanding your own mental health and brain health. Like that's so huge. So basically it's just talking about the brain in all different avenues.
And you had to move here from Michigan, right, to do that. I've lived in a bunch of places, but they were never like choices I made actively. Like I was just by circumstance. I lived in the Philippines, and my parents decided to move back to the U.S. And then I got married to somebody in San Francisco, so we moved to the Bay. But like you made the active decision to pursue a career. Was it like you chose California and the career followed, or tell us a little bit about that journey from Michigan to here?
I remember when you were asking me because I've always been
Oh my gosh!
yeah, I remember you asked me like, hey, like you were considering SoCal. I was like, come to
Wait, so while you were still living in SoCal, I know that you because she was planning on this.
Oh my gosh! I've known you like forever. That was before I moved here.
2027, we are 10 years
Wow.
friendship anniversary.
That's amazing. I didn't realize how long I've known you.
We had a full-on photo shoot, and I just met her. Yep, literally the day I met her, it was like we just had a full-on photo shoot.
That's how I knew.
It was
We're friends for life. That's
so rare. It's so rare.
I can't believe that. Yeah, we were like, hey, let's take photos. I was actually starting to kind of dive into brain health, vision rehabilitation. Michigan's amazing, but I wonder like what's out there in terms of neuro technology. And then of course I was like Silicon Valley. I would never leave my family. I still miss them a lot. But, so that was a really, really hard decision, but I prayed about it and there were so many signs. I was here on vacation, just like visiting a friend, and I did not intend to move here. I was like, Michigan forever. Michigan's amazing, but I was here. I was around like Foster City, like somewhere in the Bay. And I was just like, I went to a coffee shop and I was like, let me just see. And then of course, technology, neuro. It was like more than I've ever seen offered ever in Michigan. I didn't just apply. I found a company and I went ahead and emailed the CEO directly. And I was like, look, I love the brain. You gotta have me. He emailed back right away. And then he was like, well, we can do like a Zoom interview. Like I see you're from Michigan. I was like, well, I could just go to your office. I'm actually on vacation. And then they interviewed me for 8 hours. And then they offered me the position there.
Oh my god. People are like, oh, 45 minutes, we're still talking to you about the job. In 8 hours? Like, you definitely know.
They took me to lunch. At least I got a free lunch if I wasn't going to get it. But
that was a very unique thing that I learned about you when you told me the story about like how you got it, because I think it's very important for people to know today, like, hey, the avenues aren't just, there's a lot of people right now that are kind of out and may have been laid off or trying to look for their thing. And like, I think we're living in a world right now where actually what you did to get your job is something that more and more people are going to have to do. But like, we're so accustomed to just like applying into the abyss and then just kind of waiting for a call.
Yeah.
But like,
People are not chasing it as
because I know that's like your personality, but like walk through somebody who doesn't she gets what she wants. No, but like walk somebody through like how you kind of came to the conclusion, like what was that like, thinking like, oh, I could do totally across.
yeah.
I mean, I was scared.
You already knew people here.
So one of my good friends actually moved here for a job as well. And I was like, oh, okay. And then, I was visiting her. And I was like, okay.
To know at least one person.
Exactly. That absolutely helped, just like having somebody here.
Yeah.
But still, I'm like, no way. If I'm being super honest, I just turned 30. But I was actually really not wanting to do it. I kept trying to find reasons to not do it.
Convincing yourself.
No, and honestly, when they offered me the position, I actually said, okay, let me think on it. And I actually emailed back. I actually don't even think I told you guys the story. I emailed back like a week later and was like, thank you so much. I can't do it. Yeah. I had total cold feet. I freaked out. But then again, like I said, I don't know if it was just listening to me, but they counter offered. And then I was like, okay, so maybe this is it. Just turned 30 and I was like waiting for like
The change?
you got it. Yeah.
One point in your life where you're like, something, like you want something and you're reaching, but you haven't fully grabbed it, and it's only those opportunities, those like chances that don't happen all the time that are just kind of like your answer, and it takes a while to like realize it.
Yeah.
But if it's like for you, it'll keep you.
Exactly.
And that's crazy that the counter offer.
They really wanted you to meet Paulo.
I know. The moment I got my family's blessing, like I think they knew deep down too, like I was ready for a change because they knew that I was kind of destined for bigger things. Yeah. Not to say that I wasn't doing big things in Michigan, but I felt like I needed a new fresh chapter.
Yeah.
And to see what else is out there. Like again, only child. Like I was like, what's out there? And I was single at the time.
I mean, honestly, with the support of your family is a nice push.
Absolutely. I mean, it took a while. They're probably if they're watching this, they're like, it wasn't that. It's like the typical Filipino, like, are you sure? Is it a real job? Then eventually they understood it, and then now, I mean, it all fell into place, and they love what I do now.
And they used to visit.
Oh, always. And a lot of my cousins met their significant others because of this move. It all like worked out. Like it all connected in somehow.
That's amazing. So you talked about your career, and then you talked about your book. So like you're doing these at the same time. Like what would be like your advice? Because obviously Jensen and I also still have like day jobs, and we're trying to make YouTube channel work. Like what would be like your advice for people who are trying to do something creative on the side? Like does the content coaching ever get to you, or like
just do it. Like I know not to like steal Nike's slogan. Like the moment it comes to your mind, just execute it, even if it's messy.
execute it?
Yep.
Even if it's messy, like us.
It's the best when it's messy anyway, because then it becomes more you. Half of my ideas were because they were so messy, and I just put it out there, and I had fun with it, and I didn't care if it wasn't going to be accepted or if people didn't love it. Like I loved it.
And you collaborated with Sophia, right? So talk about how you felt like managing like all of like the going back and forth. Yeah, I know you had to review some stuff.
Yeah. I'm not gonna say that was easy, but I will say if you build connections with amazing people, it's easier. After I wrote the story, I was like, I just need a really good illustrator. I love when people post their own content, post what they do, and aren't shy to put their work out there. Because if Sophia never showed her drawings during the pandemic, I would have never reached out to her. I messaged her, she was all about it, and then we would meet online, and that's it. Yeah,
That's super important. So putting yourself out there and then connecting.
I mean, we're doing it right now.
You are.
We're constantly wanting to be inspired, you know, and what better way to seek that than the people we know that are actually doing it. That's something that we're constantly trying to feel inspired.
That's the whole theme of like the rebrand for Cultivated.
Honestly, yeah. It gives us a place to put our creativity into
And then actually execute. After the boutique closed down, we would talk about it like once or twice a year. Like, what are we gonna do?
Like she got pregnant and it stopped, and then it was like, okay, when we're ready to get back into it, literally I got pregnant, and we're like, you know what? Maybe it's not the time.
You guys are actually really inspiring, though. I know you guys are moms and you're busy, and for you guys to do this, like it's so cool.
Our identity of motherhood, but like this whole other side of us that sometimes, most of the time, a lot of us kind of put on the side.
Yeah.
You don't want to be shown like, oh, you're not prioritizing your family, but it's like, no, you're selfish. Add to like the motivation to take care of your family. You have to fill your cup first.
I watched your guys' content. You guys are great moms. You guys are amazing moms.
That was the meaty part of our interview.
Yeah, put this on the camera.
Yay!
It matches you perfectly. music.
So let's talk about maintaining adult friendships because I feel like I
don't have a lot of
you have like this group of friends that like that will just do anything.
Shout out to my friends if you're watching.
You guys are so cool.
I love my circle. One, I have a really supportive husband, so shout out to Paulo. If you're watching this. And then it really helped that my cousin moved here. So, Elisa, Life, if you're watching this. Having just like a little bit of family, right? And then, of course, my main piece, my hubby. But we have known our friend group. We've known some of them for a long time. Well, a long time being only like 10 years, unless it's family, right? But like some friends like 10 years or less, and then some friends maybe even less than like 5 years. But we always say like we work hard, we play hard, like we enjoy each other's company. We work hard to be deserving of a good time, and we don't let either one of them like be off balance. Like we don't overwork, we don't overly play too much, right? Like it has to be a balance, but we support each other's growth. Like I think that's the biggest thing about this friend group that I did not think that I'd find in my 30s, but like I love it because sometimes when people do good in life, sometimes there's jealousy, there's like worry. Not this group. If someone gets a promotion, we love it. We're inspired.
We celebrate that.
Exactly. They've been there for everything, for like birthdays. We've been at others' weddings.
Even their dog parties. It's so cute.
Dog birthdays. They come over for dog birthdays. Someone like does any like side hustle or project, or they're going on trips. Like it's motivating and it makes you want to be better. And then we can also just chill and do nothing. I'm super big on adult friendships. I highly recommend them.
That's always nice to have as you get older.
Oh yeah.
I love sitting with them. Sometimes I go with them to brunch like once a year. But it's just like everybody is always like trying something interesting and cool. And then like whatever you contribute to the conversation, it's like all of a sudden it's interesting and cool to the table full of
Honestly, I just hung out with your friend once, and it was at Paulo's birthday. They were so friendly. I think I cried in front of them when I tried the cake.
You did.
And life, it was like,
That cake looks really good.
and I was like, I've never been that vulnerable.
No, that was really sweet, and you were all about it.
They were like so interesting and interested, and
Yeah.
it's hard to find in adult friendship.
We love when you do that. In a busy world, and then all of a sudden you just get to sit down and enjoy cake. Like that was huge. We get it.
That cake was so good, by the way. But regardless, like they saw that and they weren't like judging me.
We love it. I think some of us are getting teary for you.
Those are friends for life. Keep them forever.
And they were like the first to always get like my books and like go to every event, and it's really inspiring to have good friends.
She is having a book
Oh
signing.
my gosh, I am.
Yeah, like your book signing.
Aiming for the beginning of August. The date isn't 100% finalized, but it will be in Barnes and Noble, Burlingame, and I'll have a book signing, and yeah, it's just super chill. Just inviting everyone invited.
So we have a couple of fun questions.
Ooh.
I really
Nervous.
love your taste. And so I know you have really good taste in like places to eat out.
Yeah, do you have like a Yelp like list or something?
Or share here. Favorite breakfast place in the Bay Area.
I feel like a true foodie just goes anywhere. We go to the same places a lot. So Corner Table in Redwood City. Okay. That is really good, right?
What kind of food is that?
It's just like
I think it's Korean.
Korean brunch.
What, Korean brunch?
Yeah, it's like a Korean brunch. Yeah.
So good. The people know her there, by the way. They're regular.
I like Corner. That's also in San Mateo. That's actually where we have
Conversations.
There's a really good pizza place that just opened up in Redwood City too. Well, I think they've been open for a while. Am I not a true foodie if I don't know names of restaurants?
No, actually,
You know what I do?
you're more neutral.
That's the thing. I will wake up and I will Yelp. And it has to not just be good food. It has to have like a good look to it too. It has to have a good vibe. Yeah. And then if it's adds to the experience, you got it. If it's all those things together, you got me. I'm there. I'm there. I will go anywhere. Memorable dinner. Memorable dinner. Probably whoever makes good dinner too. I'm gonna count my husband. He cooks, but I will say,
Yeah, favorite type of food you like to eat for dinner, like a steak or like a.
I do like Italian. I'm big on pasta.
I know. I like
Tarun in Palo. That's really good. Yeah.
Try that.
So good. My coworkers are really good friends with the owners of that place, and they opened up Impasto, which is so good too. So those are my big Italian favorite places to go eat.
I feel like I was your version, but in SoCal. I knew a lot of places in SoCal. I was like a Yelp reviewer.
See, I like that.
Dude, you gotta, after moving here, I'm like, I don't know a lot of places, so that would be a really cool reference. Like, you know, somewhere to visit the Bay.
Anywhere in San Francisco, I feel like it's such good food or good coffee. I love coffee.
Cafe hopping.
Always. Anytime I go and I see it out, you know, try it. Well, you gotta try black coffee. You have to take coffee as it is. I know the milk girlies are out there.
Before I started drinking latte, figuring I would always at cafes, I wouldn't know what to order, so I always got the hot chocolate. Oh, yeah. You want to know?
Yeah.
Different hot chocolate, you know. I'm your hot chocolate.
Different hot chocolate.
Your hot chocolate. I feel like I'm going up.
Taking your coffee black is like, it's just different. And then you get to like experience the different types of coffee and the notes. That's my husband. He has like a full setup. Yeah. Like, I drink the coffee. He does this thing where he's like the doing the pouring over like his wrist. He has a scale. I don't know what he's measuring. I appreciate it. I don't know how to do it.
You're just
I
like,
appreciate it. That's exactly it. He actually made me a coffee before driving to you guys.
oh my god. Well, shout out to you, man.
Shout out to you.
Honestly though, I do want to thank Rachel. Just having a child of my own, I'm still navigating with how to like parent. I'm reaching that point in my motherhood where I actually have to like bestow knowledge almost. You creating books like this, even though it's a children's book, it's a good reminder as parents, not just because we have a kid in front of us, but like lessons like this. It should never die just because we're older and we have to be the grown up, we're the adults.
Yeah.
I think that's what's most inspiring.
I do think that your books are really for the parents, and I really appreciate that you wrote them. Like, even though you're not like a mom yourself, you add so much background and how people like learn and it really helps.
You guys are doing great. I see you guys. I appreciate who you guys are. It's like super admirable. But thank you for having me. Honestly, it's actually a lot of fun.
Yeah,
This is so very, very good. I appreciate you guys.
She's amazing, and I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Getting to know Rachel, just seeing what she's up to, what she's done, is amazing and it's so inspiring. I've always admired people that have the creativity to write.
Yeah.
We love you. Thanks, appreciate you guys.
You want to read your book? Oh, yeah.